This is going to be a video going over my current plan for the 2026 season. Now, a lot of this is subject to change based on how the year is progressing, and especially finding out when most of the races are, as got some key dates in the calendar already, but still waiting for pretty much all the open events to see when they are and how I'm going to structure my season around them. But for the most part, I have a good idea of how I want the season to be progressing. So that's going to be very similar to 2025 and having two key peaks in the outdoor time trialing season. So the British Cycling Individual Time Trial Championships towards the end of June. Then second peak of the season, end of August, National 10 Mile Championships. But then different for 2026, I'm going to have a third peak of the season, an earlier peak in the season, that being towards the end of February, the British Cycling Individual Pursuit Championship. So just finished building up my track bike 2 days ago, and going to be doing my first drop-in session at Derby and just getting some track time, learning how to ride the track, ride the IP, hopefully setting a qualifying time and entering the British Champs, and then seeing how we get on. So really excited to be doing that this winter. And for that training, I've kind of finalised that. I've got a good idea of what I want to be doing. I doubt that's going to be changing much. It's going to be getting back to structured training starting tomorrow, and then progressing it from there. But the training for the rest of the season, the outdoor season, so March onwards, March to like September, October even, it's not finalised because I don't know a lot of the dates yet, and I do want to be structuring my season around some open events, because things like targeting the best British all-rounder, like again, I want to be doing some fast times over the standard distances. We've got preliminary dates for the national championships and similar structure to 2025, so already able to plan around those a little bit, but it's a long way in the future, so I'm not getting too discreet with it. I understand it's subject to change. Plan for the season, British Champs IP, and then transition into the outdoor riding. Definitely going to be focusing. This year I was focusing primarily on the time trialing, didn't do much road racing. It's definitely going to be the same again. Like I'm not sure how much. I'll look at the road racing calendar and see what's available. But it is going to be that TT focus, very similar to 2025. These are some courses I had in mind. Like I say, I want to try and retain my short distance B bar, so that would require me doing a fast B bar 10, 25, 50 and 100. The 100 pretty simple. I just want to do the 100-mile national champs and be done with it. But then doing a fast 50, 25 and 10. So it's thinking about the courses and then courses that run B-bar events. Retain my Ron Kitchen trophy, so that requires doing these national championships, so circuit champs early on, 10, 25 and 50. I'm keen to do the other national championships, the 100, the closed circuit, even the hill climb at the end of the year, because it's on it's at Portlock Toll Road, which is a less steep hill. It's a longer effort. But Ed Laverick's course record is about 30 kilometers an hour, so there is a non-insignificant aerodynamic component. It's like getting on like 100 watts. So I'm thinking do that on a TT bike. Quite a few years ago, they ran the hill climbs champs on this hill, I think. So like a 3 and a bit % gradient, and there's actually a video on YouTube of it. And pretty much everyone's on a time trial bike, so it's different for a 5% gradient. The average speed isn't going to be as high, but I think it'll be an interesting one to do the hill climb champs. Obviously it's a absolutely amazing spectacle being there, so I think it'll be fun to go have a whack on the TT bike and see how I get on. Got my key dates in the calendar. Pretty confident as to when these are. I think British Champs hasn't been confirmed, but Track Champs I know when that is. That is the 19th, Thursday the 19th of February, and then we've got a preliminary calendar for when these events are, and based on the districts I can hazard a good guess as to what the courses are going to be as well, so structuring towards that. So for example, the 100 being back on the faster course in the Lake District, so I'm like keen to do a good time there, and like see how close to the competition record I can get. So I'm keen to try hard for the National 100, even though it's not an event that suits me as much. But yeah, moving into this is kind of just like a bit of a plan as like what things do I want to be targeting during different points of the season. So December, we've got all these different stimuluses that I want to be focusing on, and then it's kind of forming part of a block with January and February, and it's all peaking for the individual pursuit champs. Go through the modalities that I'll be training. First of all, being track specific work. I'm training for a 4 kilometer effort. I'm thinking like what sort of training is going to be good for that, and I'm thinking like 2 kilometer repeats on the track are going to be my go-to. So ideally, I'm getting track time where I can do some 2 kilometer efforts, and I've already been looking at the calendar that's available at Derby. So this week coming up, I don't think I'll be able to get any efforts in, but then the following week I should be able to attend some sessions where I can get my efforts done. But yeah, it's going to be focusing on those 2 kilometer efforts, and then just progressing how many I'm doing of those. I've got a power meter on the track bike that I built up, so I'll be able to track how that's trending. But then weeks where I'm not able to get on the track and do a track specific session. So obviously we got Christmas week coming up. There's a drop-in session on the Monday where I just use that to get track time and not do any specific effort. So then I want to be doing an alternative stimulus. So for example, I think on those days where I can't, those weeks where I can't do track sessions, I'll do like 30-30s instead. Building up that specific fitness, but then you do need that general fitness as well. So I'm wanting to kind of reintroduce some threshold work, but very, very light threshold work, I'd say. Later on in the season, I'm planning on doing some team pursuit with a couple of guys I met at Derby. And the team pursuit slot that we'd be doing would be like Sunday afternoon, evening. And I'm thinking I'd probably do like a easy threshold session in the morning before that, then go down to the track and get some technical work done. High torque, I do want to be introducing this again, but similar to the track specific work, I want it to be in that specific range. So I'm training for a 4-minute effort. I'm gonna start out with doing 1-minute efforts of torque work and build those up to 3-minute efforts. Just yes, you'll get benefits from doing longer thresholdy type torque efforts of 10 odd minutes, but for what I'm working towards, it's just a higher degree of specificity really, of a 1-minute anaerobic effort being like a 1k flying effort, 2-minute 2k effort. Ultimately, if I want to be doing well, I'm doing like a 4 and a bit minute IP. So yeah, focusing on the right training zones. Gym stimulus. I'm back in the gym. I've been just getting used to that again, but I do want to be progressing it. So I'm thinking going to be doing 3 sessions a week. This unilateral gym session I do, so Bulgarian split squats. I actually don't want to do single leg RDLs anymore. I just want to do RDLs. I think they were a bit too risky for me. Like my knee popped like 2 weeks in a row, just made like a horrible crack noise, and it was never painful, and I was able to do my session both times and no issues on the bike. But yeah, I'm just like, okay, it's not worth the risk. It's quite awkward to overload with it being very grip dependent. But yeah, I think I like the split squats. They're hard, but they're good. I'll do RDLs as part of that session. That's like a more complete session, and then I'll do 2 shorter sessions, a back squat specific session and a deadlift specific session. Got lots of history with these exercises in the past, so it's kind of just like building up to decent levels, like not my peaks, but getting back to decent strength, especially with the deadlift. Like I've got a lot of history doing deadlifting. Heat work, I do want to be experimenting with heat work this year. I'm gonna be now that I found that this lower volume works really well for me, I'm thinking I can try and introduce the heat work again. I tried the heat work in 2024 and definitely contributed to me overdoing it at stages. But I think part of that was because I was just trying to push everything at the same time. It's like, okay, we're going to overload this, we're going to overload this. It's like, you can't do all that together. But now that I found that this low volume works for me, it's like, okay, keep to the lower volume, but then try and overload the different stimuluses. So yeah, I'm interested to try the heat training, and with the nature of the sessions that I want to be doing, like the high torque work that I prefer to do in erg mode, I'm going to be on the turbo a lot anyway. I can do some heat work at the stimulus at the end of those sessions. I slagged off the sub-maximal fatigue test, but I think I'll continue to do that. For me, I was doing 3 minutes at 400 watts on the turbo, so a fair bit above my threshold on the turbo. Threshold on the turbo is probably like 360 maybe when I'm decently fit. Super threshold for 3 minutes, and then just trying to evaluate like how hard that effort was. You've obviously got metrics of your average heart rate and your max heart rate, and then trying to tabulate that over the course of the year to see that it's trending in the right direction. Wasn't too useful in 2025, I'll be honest, but if I continue to do it, continue getting better in touch with how I'm actually feeling after that effort, I can give a better representative time to exhaustion. So like, how long could I keep going at 400 watts for that effort? Hopefully I'm being objective about that, and that value trends up over the course of the year. This was a big part of my 2024 spreadsheet where I was tracking all my sprints. I'm not going to be doing it in the same way where I'm too anal about it, but yeah, I do want to be doing some mixed sprints, and I do want to see all of these trending in the right direction. I need to. It's hard getting off the line for the IP. Like, you need that maximal power. So yeah, improving that max 1 second power all the way up to the 30-second is going to be really important for doing well at the IP. I've got a bit of a calendar here. I mean, these first few weeks are getting to be quite accurate because I know what dates are available for going to sessions at Derby. But then January, February, I don't know those dates, so these will change around. But the main thing is just I want to be getting my track specific type session done, my high torque session, and some sort of threshold maintenance done during the week. Like one of each of those boxes ticked off during the week. Same with the gym, the sprints, the heat, and just making sure I'm getting those done most weeks. Like maybe on a rest week I'm doing a much more minimal amount of torque, but I'm ticking these boxes week by week so that come British Champs I'm going to be in really good form. But yeah, this calendar itself is still subject to change, but this is this is as specific as we get. When it comes to the latter part of the year, that's when it's definitely becoming a bit more wishy-washy. But I do know kind of I have an idea of how I want to progress the year. So kind of British Champs, ideally that's my best VO2 max ever. Like a 4 and a bit minute effort, my VO2 max should be the highest it's ever been if I've done the training right. So ideally it's going to be maintain a good amount of that VO2 max, but bringing up the areas that are lacking, especially for the outdoor races I'm going to be targeting. So it's going to be maintain the VO2 max as much as possible. So I'm thinking just like maybe just a bunch of long sprints. These 30-second sprints are meant to be a golden bullet for maintaining VO2 max, but I mean, I'll play around with it and see what I think works. Some sort of VO2 max maintenance, I think similar with the torque. So I'll have built up to doing these 3-minute torque effort, high torque efforts in training for the track, and then I think I'll just kind of stick with a maintenance session, and then I can combine these together as well, which will be nice. But then it's just going to be introducing the threshold work, which is going to be building that fitness for the longer efforts, not just your 25 and your 50-mile time trials, but also for a 10. Like I'm saying, there's a big fitness component to doing the IP on the track. There's obviously an even bigger fitness component to doing a 10-mile time trial. Like, yes, it's a short 17 to 20 minute effort. It's in that VO2 max zone, but you need that threshold fitness to perform well. My threshold needs to be at a decent level prior to the IP, but I'm hoping that's more just muscle memory. These threshold sessions that I'm planning on doing, they're not going to be too intensive. It's just getting back to decent fitness with it. So yeah, starting out with like an hour at tempo, 30 minutes at threshold, and then by the end of it, hopefully doing like a 40 minutes at threshold, which is kind of like a standard for me. But yeah, just hoping to see those just kind of rebound, but not expecting them to go anywhere crazy. And then come March, when I'm focused on the outdoor time trialing, that's when I'm going to be wanting to bump up my threshold. So doing significantly more threshold work. I like the idea of maybe combining, not being as prescriptive about it, combining threshold and tempo work, kind of depending on what the weather's like, what I'm feeling like. Do I want to do it on the road bike or the TT bike? So this early part of the year, it might be on the turbo, in which case I'll do a longer tempo session on the turbo. But if the weather's really nice, I might get out for like a mixed road bike threshold session, which is something I experimented with at the end of last year, just playing around, and I'm like, this session's is really fun and engaging, and I could see myself really being keen to overload this, and then the fitness gains will come from that. So yeah, that early part of the year is just going to be reintroducing proper threshold training. Do some long torque efforts, so like threshold type intensity. So if I'm on the turbo, maybe like 360 watts, but right down at those low cadences, that 50 RPM. I could potentially do these outside as well. The torque work that I would have been doing in the winter is that 1 to 3 minute range. I want to maintain that because I think it's can be really useful for that anaerobic VO2 max component. But then, like I say, I'm reintroducing this threshold work. I'm trying to boost that threshold. I think it'd be interesting to do these threshold type torque efforts, which is I did torque training winter 2023, so winter 2023, early 2024, and that was the type of torque I was doing, these much longer threshold type efforts, and then the torque I did last year was 3 to 5 minute range, so much higher intensity. I haven't touched this type of torque training for 2 years, so I think it'll be interesting to reintroduce. Also want to be keeping track of my sprints. Like I say, I want to be boosting that sprint power during the winter for my IP block, but after that it's going to be if I'm focusing on improving the threshold stimulus with these type of sessions, I can't be expecting to you can't bring everything up at the same time. Like, you have to have a focus, and so yeah, it's going to be this early part of the season is like getting that fitness and also getting some more miles on the bike, because like I've mentioned, I do want to do well at the National 100, so that's mid-July, and I've got to get the training in somewhere. I understand that this winter I'm not going to be hammering the zone 2 miles like you road racers do, but training for a 4 minute effort, it just doesn't make sense. But then if I want to do well at the 100, it's back on the fast course. How close to the comp record can I get? I need to get those hours in at some point. So I think these long threshold sessions are going to take me a long way. But then maybe extending this sort of session, that's 3 hours of actual efforts. It's with warm up and rest, that's at least 4 hours on the bike. You can easily extend that to like a 5 hour ride. I could do my heat stimulus at the end of that ride, as hopefully I've built up some good heat tolerance during the winter block, and then just maintaining that with maybe one session a week. I need to get the hours in somewhere if I want to do well at the 100 and the 50 even. So I think, yeah, this part of the season is going to be trying to build that. But obviously I know I've overdone it with the volume in the past. So if I'm pushing the volume, it's like, okay, my VO2 max is at maintenance. I'm pushing the threshold and the volume. That's about it. Like my gym work, I was thinking that's early part of the season now. Like, keep doing, probably like cut it down to a maintenance level. So continue my 3 sessions a week of the unilateral session, my squat session, my deadlift session. But maybe that's just like a maintenance few weeks of maintaining the back squat, maintaining the deadlift. But then midway through, leading up to the British Champs, I think I'll move to just purely maintenance gym work, which is what I did for most of the year, just one unilateral session a week, just to keep in touch with the body, keep everything moving in the right way, and maintain some of that muscle mass. But yeah, definitely not pushing it. Once I've built up that threshold again, I've got some key races quite early on. So the Circuit Champs is earlier than it was last year. It was the first of June last year. So it's 5 weeks earlier in the season. There's a fast 25 miler I want to do, potentially a fast 10 miler here if I'm looking at the B bar. So yeah, for those, it's like I'm just going to be hoping that I've maintained a good VO2 max and I've brought up my threshold. But then it's going to be getting into the proper typical training that I do to try and peak for an event. So that's doing a good level of threshold work and having a specific VO2 max block. So yeah, I'm thinking, why not go very similar approach to last year? Start with long VO2 max efforts and build down to shorter ones. But some specific, this might change, but some specific VO2 max block to overload my fitness to try and be in peak shape for a 50 miler. And it's like, yes, I'm reintroducing proper VO2 max work, and it's like for a 50 miler for the 100, 2 weeks after that, like I mentioned, it's like, yeah, the VO2 max is like, it's not that specific for a really long race, but it's like the fitness. Like if my VO2, if I've been working on building up the threshold and then my VO2 max has naturally had a bit of a dip, and then I try and bring up the VO2 max again whilst having that good threshold, they all lift each other up. I mean, there's a good overlap in these energy systems, Fitness is fitness, and just, yeah, I also depends on the demands of the British Champs ITT. Like what this year we had a really steep hill that you had to get up, and yeah, depending on the nature of the parkours, like these VO2 max efforts might be super crucial. If you're just hammering the threshold work and you just can't go over that, then you're not going to have a good time of it. Even further in the future, even though this is further in the future, I feel like this is probably more accurate to what I'd be doing. Like I have a better plan, just because I've structured this part of the season 2 years in a row now, with the key events being the National 10 Mile Championships and the National 25. Like I know I just want to have a good level of threshold. Don't need to be doing anything crazy with it. If I've got that good level, just try and maintain it as best as possible, and then reintroducing that VO2 max work and doing a nice VO2 max block to build towards that fitness. So yeah, currently just the same approach as 2025, starting with long efforts, building down to short ones. Hopefully seeing progress. If I do this sort of approach, hopefully seeing progress from my earlier peak in the season, doing similar, starting from a similar place, but hopefully from a higher starting place. But yeah, just very much a maintenance level of threshold, maintenance talk, just keep in touch with it, just learn how to gurn out that big gear. Even though I don't think any of the time trials have like specific, like really nasty kickers or anything. But yeah, it's just a good stimulus to keep on top of. Like you do the work to build it up. Like if you can maintain that for a little bit of effort, then yeah, you maintain it and then try and build up the other energy systems. Gym, definitely just going to be a maintenance level. Heat, hopefully it's going to be a nice warm summer. It's absolute freezing now, and if I build up a nice level of heat adaptation during the winter, and then just doing like one heat session a week to maintain that to a good level. But yeah, hopefully just a very similar approach to last year with threshold, VO2 max, race stimulus, which is typically a 10 or 25 mile time trial, which is threshold or VO2 max. But yeah, structuring the season to hopefully be in good shape hopefully be in my best shape for the National 10 especially. And I'm also definitely, part of the reason why I've got this calendar already is because I do want to approach the National 50 and the National 100 slightly differently. So last year I did the National 50 my first peak of the season, and then I took 4 days off. Whereas I think that meant that I wasn't quite back to where as sharp as I needed to be for the national 25. So I'm thinking maybe 2 days off after the 50, 2 days off after the 100. I think it will put me in a better space for the 100. As this year, as 2025, I was just like, I wasn't expecting much from the 100 really. But this year, 2026, I'd really like to do well at it. So it'll put me in better shape for the 100, and then hopefully I'll rebound from the 100 coming into the 25 as well. Also, stuff like playing around with how long I taper for. I found that the later part of the season in 2025, I was able to maintain a very good level off like quite relaxed training, and I found my best form for the national 50, but was maybe carrying in a bit too much training coming into the British Champs ITT. So maybe I do a more aggressive taper the week before, so I'm pretty fresh for this, but then still fresh, but it's that balance of fresh but having the training for the 50. I mean, it's a longer event, so maybe it wasn't that I was fresher after that couple of days, it's just the nature of the event lends itself to maybe having some more training in the legs. But yeah, have a think about that, have a think about what worked in 2025, and it still worked very well. I was very happy with pretty much all my races during the year, but still trying to improve on it. It's like, okay, this was good, but what can be better? Definitely need a couple of rest days after the national 10. Maybe not immediately after the national 10. Depends if I need to go back to Wales to the ski slope to do a fast B-bar 25. But yeah, I think that I needed that after the national. It's not the national 10. It's the build up for the national 10. Like after a significant training block, giving myself a couple of days off to reset, you know. But I do want to extend the season out a little bit more. So there's some nice events at the latter part of the season that I enjoyed doing this year. I'd like to return to Monsal. Unfortunately, I got ill before Monsal Hill Climb this year, so I wasn't able to do it. Closed circuit champs again, going to be at Thruxton. As I mentioned previously, have a crack at the National Hill Climb Championship, since it's on a less steep hill, and there's the potential for a TT bike to have some advantages. I've already modelled it a little bit, and there's advantages to being more aero, but obviously I'm a heavier guy, so I still need to produce a fair bit more power compared to what everyone else is doing, because I've got a lot of gravity to overcome. But yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting one, and like a fun thing to do at the end of the season. I'll continue working on this plan over the course of the year. Yeah, it's definitely subject to change. Really looking forward to starting out with the track stuff in the coming weeks. Typically, partway through January is when like all the open events would be available in the CTT calendar, and then I can like plan out which events I want to be doing as part of the preparation for the nationals, which are the big goals, obviously. And that's kind of the thought process. Overall, very similar to 2025, plus the addition of the track champs at the start of the year. But I think that's actually going to be good for me because I have that specific focus, whereas in 2025 it was just like, okay, let's just hammer the training, and yeah, I took it too far. Ironically, that point in February was where I was kind of like burnt out and had to have a proper reset before I got back to training, and found that intermediate 12 to 15 hours worked really well for me. Having that focus and have this goal in mind, so it doesn't make sense to just absolutely smash it, because I need that freshness for hitting those targets in the sessions and then doing well at the actual event itself. So yeah, really looking forward to this 2026 season. Should be even better than 2025, which is if I can manage that, that'll be pretty good.